The Red Dragon fight is a masterclass in tension, a genius utilization of color and escalation. It's this sequence where everything that can go wrong does. Plans failing, improvising, and desperation with an overriding sense of futility. It's no wonder this episode is pretty consistently in the highest rated of the season. The initial mission of Dungeon Meshi is complete, but it feels like a failure. If you want an example of how to do this boss fight kind of sequences in anime, the Red Dragon is the best you're going to get. This is why. We're going to start with this, the plotting of the fight, how the constant tension is earned from keeping you on the edge of your seat the whole way through. So, to have tension, you need stakes. We all know they probably won't die here. I mean, not permanently. Death is cheap in the dungeon. So how do you create tension? It begins with well-laid plans. We get Marcel running over it. Runes are drawn. Everyone is prepared. What is their plan? Well, Marcel uses up her magic to stun the dragon, using time spells that are safe. They bait the dragon into using all of its fuel and into the buildings, where they'll collapse it on it. Make him a pancake. Ideally, the environment will turn the dragon into like an accordion man. It's solid. Although we start to build the stakes when it almost immediately fails. How do they get out of it? It all starts so well, but Laios hasn't thought about the shield getting hot. Kind of a bonehead move. The anime adds a lot here. The dragon's first appearance matches the manga, but the pan up and over the dragon pulls the focus a lot more than a plain panel can. As it's first breathing fire, there's a unique angle here, overhead. The manga's impact panels of the dragon are great, but there's this claustrophobia to the environment that the color really helps with. Look at the shot of the dragon as they drop the pot from the low angle, which emphasizes its height. It draws your attention to the muscularity of it, that real autonomy which Dungeon Meshi uses for monsters. It's the same focus on the physicality of the dragon that we get from the first panel of the fight in the manga. It all stresses the overbearing strength. It's presented as this force of nature, every shot amping it up. And our party's underprepared. They're not equipped for this kind of fight. It's not so much if they'll survive, maybe, but just, how? How do they? Within 5 minutes or 8 pages, it's all gone to hell. The plan is out the window. There's a chase into a much worse situation, trapped, with their physical position meaning every shot reinforces that threat of the dragon. The enormity of the creature is the focus. By placing our entire anchor to the world so firmly underneath it, they could have been pinned anywhere else with the same plot. But by being here, we never get a break from the angles that keep the dragon dominating. It's absolutely escalated, almost immediately. The fight with the Red Dragon is fantastically plotted, but its presentation elevates it. It's got weight behind every reaction. As the fight escalates, this is why the action is genius here. Meshi's animations have always had this extra fluidity, but in the Red Dragon fight, it's everywhere. Everyone moves more than they have to. Every knock has the weight behind it because no element of the drawing is static. The panic on Marcel's face feels real. The fear on Chilchuk's. Senshi getting stomped, this desperate run away. We can go frame by frame here. The detail's amazing, the fluidity. These are each one of them. Each one is something. So, no plan. But how do you escalate? How do you make the situation worse? They might not have a plan, but they have some equipment. We can do a little checklist of what possible options they even have left here. These things might not be running through your mind as you're watching because it's pretty hectic. But if you're actively watching, you're probably a little aware of some of their options. To escalate the tension, the Red Dragon fight gradually takes away each of these resources. You see the main weapon literally leap out of our hero's hands. It's funny. I mean, look at Chilchuk's face here as Laios throws away their only chance at life. But it doesn't puncture the tension, it just lets it breathe, because once the choke's settled, it was an escalation to the horrendous situation. The tension and stakes are raised higher as their first resource to try and get out of it literally leaps away. From there, it's one attempt at improvisation into pain, into improvisation, into pain. Each step just seems to add to the tension, and it whittles down resources. The whole time they're panicking, having them flat under the dragon is a genius move. The longer you're here, the more the dragon's strength, size are emphasized, with the buildings much more visible in the animation. The claustrophobia is stepped up too. The color of the dragon all builds on the tension from the manga. The more the dragon is the focus of the frame, the more its weight commands the scene. Next resource up is Marcel, who attempts to improvise. Oh well. Even the only one of them not trapped won't be much help. There's one less resource. Senshi goes for a Hail Mary play, and the only remaining weapon gets shattered. Another resource gets removed. The list of ways this could be resolved is being ticked off one by one, but organically. It's not just clunky exposition. Senshi's cool knife, I mean, that does manage to pierce the dragon, but it's a bit too big for a little blade in him to matter. I mean, you call that a knife? Minutes in, they've lost every single weapon. The mage can't think of a single plan, and the only option apparently left is just throw yourself to its mercy, getting broken up like this. Another moment where the enemy is going a little further, that extra fluidity just makes his pain visceral. The less than combatants are taken out one by one. Chilchuk's knife throw is perfect. It's such a win moment, and paced when we need a slight up. But it's like the knife being revealed. These two moments give us some relief, or the illusion of it. Allowing these moments of hope, it lets you take it further next time. It's how futile the fight has become. An injured dragon is a much bigger problem. Through bad luck, their plan of using the environment has just turned back against them. It's not only escalating the situation, but removing their resources. And the physical weight of this wild and out dragon is the payoff to all those shots framing its size. The claustrophobic shots of the alleyways and buildings earlier. Well, now each thrash feels realer as the dragon is smashing through them. The situation's severity established through the choice of shots so far. As the buildings collapse into rubble, you can kind of feel the impact. Suddenly our reactive, fluid characters seem to be in a very real fight with a huge monster. Even the dragon wagging his tail has a weight to it. Senshi heaving the sword, pushing through broken bones. You can feel the pain. The whack on Chilchuk's head next, it just doesn't stop. Now the environment and the dragon are after him, and this is the height of the tension. Like, physically can't go any worse. They're out of resources. The walls are caving in. How do you wrap up a fight like this successfully? Once you put them in a no-win situation. There's no overpowered fantasy wish fulfillment. Everyone gets kind of bodied because every action actually matters and it doesn't feel easily won. Senshi pushing through broken bones. Chilchuk, man. Chilchuk, I don't have to explain this one. You remember how it went for their best boy. Laios accepting being partially eaten is not as rough on Marcel as she's not killing a dragon on her own, is she? I mean, you remember what happened when she tried to pull a turnip. But I'm not even sure if it's resourcefulness that wins the fight or more desperation, do you think? Resourcefulness was pulling the knife. Resourcefulness was the first plan. This is a gamble, and thematically it's a conclusion which can work because it pulls everything back to why they're here, the core themes and the main mission, putting it all on the line to live another day. The final plan is a reflection of how Laios wanted to enter the dungeon in the first place. Alone, he wanted to attempt an overly risky, overly dangerous plan. It kind of works. The solution is symmetry. He alone fires himself in an overly risky plan. He lets himself be eaten by the dragon, just like Farland did. And I gotta mention the vocal performances in here too, which are fantastic and do so much to sell the animation. From the many grunts of pain and fear to Laios' guttural yell as he blows towards the dragon. His scream with the stabbing is something else. The panel here is great too if you've not seen Laios' teeth in way more detail than you might ever have wanted to. Even as the dragon is going down, its weight and physicality is continuing to dominate the shots. Heavy knocks against the walls, the impact is physical. Even a dying dragon is a disaster. The fight is over with Chilchuk and Senshi unconscious, messed up, and a one-legged Laios looking destroyed. Blood everywhere. Just like the shots framing the dragon, the colour palette of this fight is the kind of thing you might not notice, but it definitely contributes to the emotion you'll feel in the scene. There's barely any colour to the dragon fight. The defining one, though, is red. As much as each shot sells the dragon's imposing size and weight, its colour is just as strong. It dominates the scene, it's part of the tension. It's a visual clue that keeps you focused on that dragon, and past that, it remains. It makes that striking red so much more impactful, but once the dragon is dead, that same colour focus is applied to the blood. The world around is grey. Nothing's in light other than the dragon and then its blood. When the dragon bites into Laios and he deals the finishing blow, it loses all colour except from the weak spots. Everything washes out entirely. The strength of the dragon is gone, and so is its control over the palette of the world. And because he's losing so much blood. But it's all the more impactful because of the colour choices so far. The outcome of the fight is just as messy as the fight itself. This colour scheme, compare it to other episodes and you see how much of a departure it is. The biggest glimpse of colour we get is a short flashback to an earlier battle with all its blue. That's pretty jarring coming in the middle of this. Marcel's bluer outfit is largely in shadows, but since she's away from the fight, it serves to further isolate our party trapped under the dragon. The palette is quite a bit different to the one used in the original dragon fight. There, yeah, it's pretty damn red. I mean, that's a lot of red. but it's brighter, scarier, more fire than the bleaker tone of the second battle. Only the dragon keeps that colour tone in the second fight. The stuff around our party has less colour, less hope. The buildings look much grimmer than they'll look once the battle is over. Compare the lighting of these interiors when they're in the fight and then afterwards. It's literally night and day. Now, it's lit differently on purpose, but the different lighting contributes a lot to the mood and the tone of each sequence. The colourful opening and ending, for that matter, are kind of jarring with this episode's colour palette. They kick in and your eyes almost need to adjust. Especially with that last shot, these little tricks that make the tension and action so much more compelling don't stop with the fight. They continue into the aftermath, help build this complete sense of futility that you feel when it's over. The fight ends, but things aren't really finished, and there's little cause to celebrate. The sight is all blood, missing limbs, and crushed buildings. It doesn't come with the sense of relief that you want. After all that tension, instead it's just kind of grim. Marcel doesn't have great healing magic, everyone is freaking out, there's no real return for lightness here. They discuss that the plan may have been a little naive, and that's before they even cut the dragon open and see if they've got Farlin in time, where we see the scale and enormity of the dragon. It still is imposing, but now you're seeing the party carving out its remains. The dragon's anatomy is treated so seriously too, tunneling into a dead creature's body through its skin, wading through the blood, just a sea of red and guts. No fire. The anime sticks to the angles that emphasize the size of the dragon, like here. But now they're not there to show its strength, they're claustrophobic. Senshi even compares it to working in a mine. Now the dead dragon has them just as trapped as the living one did. The vocal performances as they're inside the ribs are amazing. For a show about eating monsters in a dungeon, they're not afraid to take it seriously. It grounds things. Those pulling out organs, Jojo not being able to stomach the smell of death any longer. The overly realistic approach to anatomy from those opening meals are paying off. I have a video on that, by the way. It'll probably come up at the end. It makes a much bigger impact here than elsewhere. The scale of it, the indigestible matter being used for fuel, and the reveal of a single hair, blood-stained strand fished out from the innards of a corpse. That's the hopeful moment. As we ride from here into the shot of the skull, washing off the blood, red everywhere, the colours, the weight of the aftermath, fishing around for bones. Farlin wanting to be let go. For the turning point, the beginning of a second quest, it's really quite futile. That's even down to the winged lion statue we pan over in the opening. I mean, that's an anime addition, but a welcome one. An ominous sign. It's the end of the battle, they've succeeded and kind of failed. There's been a ticking clock until now. Get to the dragon's stomach before Farlin gets digested. So resurrection is still possible, but she's bones. The red dragon fight being a slight win to follow up with this shot just hammers it home. There's a futility to finding the bones, to taking down this complete raid boss, but the ticking clock had already beaten them. The plan to take out the dragon may have been naive, but so was their plan to enter the dungeon like this in the first place. Weird as it is, what happens here is a pretty good case scenario. Something that's gotten across by the shots, by the colour, everything about this battle. Hey, thanks for watching. If you got all the way through, there's a sub button. You know, you want to see some more. You know how it works, right? Cheers.